Hi everyone, I wasn't planning to make any more videos, but I just made a really amazing discovery. I just came across this just this morning, and I feel like I have to share this. I was looking at the parallels between the movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame and the I Pet Goat movie and what happened with the Notre Dame Cathedral with the fire. And I want to talk about some of all the similarities and the parallels between all of that, but I'm just going to go ahead and get right into the discovery that I just made, and that's with the name Quasimodo. I was just pulling up some information on Quasimodo because I was trying to understand the movie and the novel and the story, because I figured it's really important to God, since that seems to be what the entire I Pet Goat movie is about, and I'll try to explain that. But what's amazing is that Quasimodo actually means octave of Easter, and I'll go ahead and click on that so you can see that. It says the term octave of Easter refers to the 8-day period or octave of Eastertide. It says Eastertide or Paschaltide is a festal season of the liturgical year of Christianity that focuses on celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ. It begins on Easter Sunday, which initiates Easter week in Western Christianity, and Bright Week in Eastern Christianity. There are several Easter tides. So it starts on Easter and concludes the following Sunday. So that would be this Sunday coming up. The octave day of Easter refers only to that day. Another name is White Sunday. Okay, and I want to talk a little bit more about the color white, because when I had done the I Pet Goat movie originally, I had pointed out that the Strong's number 5777, and I want to show you why this number is important. It's a theme throughout this entire, not just the I Pet Goat movie, but with what happened with the cathedral. But it means lead, but it says so called from its whitish color. And of course, in the I Pet Goat, we had the character Lily, which of course lilies are white, and she's dressed all in white, and this is a representation of Eve or the bride, and so the color white is important. Okay, and I want to talk a little bit more about how there's a theme throughout this entire story, for lack of a better term, with the numbers 777. And the reason I said story is because it's not just the I Pet Goat movie, it's what happened and the story of the Bible, and so it all connects with the numbers 777. That's the entire theme. It's actually the theme of Revelation. Okay, and I'll just show you an image of that so you can see why I said that's the theme of Revelation, is the 777. It's also the Jubilee Year. But it turns out that there's also a theme with 777 and the fire that took place at the Notre Dame Cathedral. And this is just a video that came up in my feed that I watched a couple of days ago, or a few days ago, and I haven't even watched the entire video, but I just wanted to pull it up again since I'm making this video. I'm not even sure what it says after this point, but the important point that's made in this video is that it was actually 777 years since there was another fire that took place in France, and this is when they burned all the known copies of the Talmud. So it's as if God is making retribution here for what took place with this burning of the Talmud, which is basically the Bible, or story of the Bible, in France. And this was exactly 777 years ago, because 2019 minus 1242, which is the year that this happened, was exactly 777 years. So as it says over here it was 777 years of long suffering. So that's how long God extended grace for what took place. Okay, if you go to Matthew 18, verse 22, actually starting from verse 21, this is where Peter came to Jesus and asked, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother who sins against me? Up to 7 times? And Jesus answered, I tell you, not just 7 times, but 77 times. So if you look at this verse 22, which is this verse right here, Jesus said to him, I say not to you until 7 times, but until 77 times. So you have 7 here, 3 times. This is how long Jesus said, or how many times Jesus said that you should forgive your brother. And so that actually adds up to the 490 years, which is the prophecy in the book of Daniel. It comes up here. This is the only other time that you have 77 times 7 is in Matthew 18:22. I believe this is giving the year. This is the 2018 year. And it's interesting that it comes up in verse 22. I can talk about that a little more. But another way to render this time of grace would be 7, 7, 7, because you have the 3 sevens here, 7 and then 77. Okay, and so the point that I want to make is that it appears that God was actually illustrating the novel, or the movie, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, throughout the iPet goat movie, because if you go to the beginning of the movie over here, you have obviously a pet goat, and over here, let me just go back. Okay, in the Hunchback of Notre Dame, Esmeralda had a pet goat, and I'll show you an image of that later. But over here it says, Summary of the Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo. Over time, Esmeralda's love for Phoebus turned more fiery. She even trained her goat to spell out her secret love's name with alphabet blocks. Okay, and so you see that mentioned here several times, that the goat spells out Phoebus using alphabet blocks. And when you go to the iPet goat movie, that's the very first scene. You see that the goat it's spelling out here iPet goat with alphabet blocks. Okay, so if you look at the character Captain Phoebus in the story or the novel of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, you see that the name Phoebus is the Greek god, or the sun god Apollo. He even says that in the movie. I saw a clip from the movie where he introduced himself to Esmeralda, and he said that his name is Phoebus. And he even said in the Disney movie, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, that it means sun god. So Phoebus is basically Apollo. Okay, and of course Apollo is the one who comes out of the bottomless pit in Revelation 9:11. I'll show you that in a minute. But you see that the iPet goat here has the mark of the beast on his forehead. So it's spelling out iPet goat, but it's showing the mark of the beast here. Okay, if you go to Revelation 9:11, it says, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. And so Apollyon is a form of the name Apollo. We go to, you can see that. Okay, you can see Apollo means destroyer, but it's also, okay, it says over here that it's a transliteration of Apollo. So Apollyon is the same thing as Apollo. Okay, another interesting similarity over here in the movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This is when Esmeralda is in the cathedral where she's secluded in there, and she's claimed sanctuary, or Phoebus told her to claim sanctuary, and she's like pretty much trapped in the cathedral, and she's singing this song called God Helps the Outcasts. And in this scene right here, there's a picture of this stained glass image of Jesus, and prior to seeing this clip, I had come across some videos where people, or where it talked about, I think there was one that was by Inside Edition that I watched, where people were seeing images of Jesus in the fire, and there's more than one image. There's a really good one, I think this one right here, I think, is probably one of the clearest ones to see. It's circled over here. You can see the image of Jesus, but there's other images. Okay, if you go back to the top, if you look at this image, this one looks like a sitting down position, like he's seated on the throne. And okay, there were more images of Jesus in the flames, but I don't want to take too much time going over that. But I remembered that there was also the same thing in the Hunchback of Notre Dame. There was a scene where Frollo was fantasizing about Esmeralda, and he saw an image of her in the flames. I just remember that from years ago watching the movie, the Disney movie, with my kids. And so that was another similarity. But it's interesting that it appears others have made that connection as well, that there was the flames of Jesus and the flames of Esmeralda. In fact, I think Esmeralda is a type of Christ in the movie. This is from the 1939 movie version that this was based on. But you can see she was falsely accused over here, just like Christ was. And I think the Hunchback, these are the two protagonists in the movie. They're the two good characters. And I believe the Hunchback is also a type of Christ in the movie, because he rescues Esmeralda. I'll just show you this scene. I'll just play it real quick. And this is, let me just skip forward. This is probably the most dramatic scene of the entire movie, where he rescues her. Okay, and the two antagonists would, of course, be Phoebus, which is the name Apollo, but you also had Claude Frollo, so you have this same ending as Apollo. So I believe both of these are the antagonists that represent Satan. And then the protagonists, which represent Jesus in the movie, would be Esmeralda and Quasimodo. Okay, and here's an image of her with her pet goat, so that you can see there was a pet goat in the movie. Okay, and I've made videos showing how God is showing the year here with the toe cap of the shoe, which is Strong's number G2777. Okay, you can see that right here. It's G2777, and it means all these definitions here, but as you can see, it means a part of a shoe, and in particular, it refers to the cap of a shoe, the toe cap right here. Okay, and so this movie is obviously prophetic, as we all know by now, with what happened with the cathedral and the fire and the spire falling down exactly as it did in the movie. But is God also giving us the day?